Hi there everybody, my name is Ali and today we will going to do intentions from HackTheBox, which is a very hard machine, and this involves a lot of steps to get to the root. So firstly we will start off with the enumeration of a web application, then we will be going to try to find out some SQL injection. I will be going to do the injection manually. I have not used Sqlmap, but I will use this today as well in front of you, and I don't know how it will go. After SQL injection, we will log into the site as admin. Then I will be going to exploit Imagick vulnerability to get onto the box. And then in the privilege escalation, we will try to find out something random information from the Git repo. And then finally, we will be going to exploit a binary called scanner. We will exploit it to read the files. We will need to read the code, and we will be going to actually write our own code to actually read the flag, or we can read the id underscore rsa file. So it involves some sort of coding as well, so we will do some coding as well and get root. So that being said, let's jump in. I already have started my machine and my IP address is 10.10.11.220. So I will start off with the nmap scan, nmap-a for aggressive scan, -v for verbosity, and then the IP address of the target. Hit enter and it can take some time to run. I already have ran it. Looking at the results, we are having only two ports open. Port 22 is SSH, it says open SSH 8.9p1, and this is Ubuntu operating system. Then we are having port 80, it says HTB engine x 1.18.0. again we are having our operating system being leaked here as well. And then HTB title says intentions, which is name of the box. Then there are methods which are get and head. So nothing really interesting. We only have a web server, and all of my things which I need to exploit and all the things which I need to do is through this web server. So let's go to the website and let's see what is running over here. So 10.10.11.220, and it says intentions image gallery, and we do have a login page. So whenever I see a login page, again the same methodology, I will be going to actually try default credentials. After trying default credentials, I will try SQL injection, and then if anything doesn't work, I will register myself and then I will see what's going on. The other thing which I can try to do is wappalyzer to see what sort of technology is being going on. Is there any CMS or those sort of things? I don't see any CMS right over here. It is Nginx and then some JavaScript frameworks and JavaScript libraries, and operating system is Ubuntu. We already know that from the Nmap scan. So I will start off with the default credentials. So I'll try admin, and it is not signing me in. So I think so I need to put a proper email. So let's try admin at intentions.htb, and then admin as the password, sign in. Doesn't work. If I try to do admin at, or let's say test at intentions.htb, password of test, sign in, invalid credentials I believe. Then let's try single quotes at the end to try to see whether I'm having SQL injection. Doesn't look like. If I do again, sign in, doesn't look like. Double quotation round bracket, sign in, doesn't look like. And then single quote round bracket, sign in, doesn't look like. So if I say space minus minus space minus, and then if I try to sign in, and on everything it is giving me a invalid credential error. So I think so there is no SQL injection over here. If I say a hash sign, and doesn't work. So I think so I need to register over here, and I can say test email test at test.com, password of test, register, and it says account creation complete, please log in. Now if I click on login over here, if I say test at test.com, test over here as well, sign in, and I am logged in. So now whenever I'm having a functionality of a site where I cannot do anything, and on the login page I just cannot try default credentials, I have tried all of the things, I have tried SQL injection, doesn't work, then registering and trying to see much more functionality is the best case scenario for me. So I am having now in news, gallery, your feed, and your profile. And in the profile I can see there is a test, there is test at test.com, food, travel, nature, and all these things. There are a few more things which I have actually missed on my enumeration, and that is if I open this in my private window, it should be on the login page. Let's see. Okay, one more thing which I have missed actually is I always need to see the page source. And why the page source? Because this is a hard machine and we need to enumerate each and everything in way more detail. Now actually I cannot show you my complete enumeration and my complete sort of steps in this video because this will be then more than 2 hours of video. So that's why I will be going to in very short steps and I will be going to do direct to the point. And but still there is a bunch of enumeration which we can do. So I will show you some enumeration as well which I normally do onto my real engagements and pen tests, and you can say bug bounties as well. So for example, right here I can see this one, but there is one interesting thing which I can see right over here is this login.js file. So if I click on this login.js file, this JS file is highly in such order that I cannot read, and this is huge. So one thing which normally bug bounty hunters and real world attackers can do is they can search over here different sort of things like username and password. So I can try admin, it doesn't work. I can try password, there is password. So let's see where it is here, but right now it is having password unescape encode or dot password, so not too much interesting or nothing which I can read it easily and say this is interesting. The other things which I can try for API endpoint, so slash API, and there is an API, and I think so this API v1 auth login is used for logging me in. So when I logged in over here, right over here in the backend there will be those API calls which will be going to be made. So one more thing which I can try to do over here is if I come back to my browser where it was, yes, so this is the manual technique to actually find different sort of endpoints, potential information and these sort of things. But again, if I show you some enumeration and if I show you some realistic stuff, what that is that let me download this JS file. So if I come to my terminal, if I say wget, paste the link, hit enter, it will download this login.js file into my current working directory. So we can try to use some tools which are made for bug bounties, and that is I think so called relative URL extractor. Yeah, this one. So if I click on this one, what this tool will do, we will pass it the JavaScript file and it will actually extract all hidden endpoints, potential information from that file. So let's try to use this tool. So that's how our enumeration becomes much more greater. So if I clone this tool, git clone, paste the link and enter, so it will clone this tool, ls cd into relative URL extractor, and there it is. So what we can try to do over here is let me move the login.js file into my current working directory, and then what I will do is get that login.js file, pipe it out to extract.ruby and hit enter, and there you go. So you can see in this complete JavaScript file, I am having two interesting endpoints, API v1 auth login, API v1 auth register. So these techniques can help you a lot when you are doing hard and insane level machine. These techniques can help you a lot. So you can save a lot of your time doing these sort of challenges. So coming back to over here, let's move on. So right over here I can see news. So there is some news. If I view the page source of this one, again there is gallery.js. So let's try to do the same thing with gallery.js as well, and let's see whether we are having some other endpoints or no. So wget gallery.js and do the same thing with gallery.js, enter, and there you go. We are having some more endpoints right over here. So we are having v1 auth user, user genres, images, user feed. So we will see how these are going on. And one more thing which I will not do right now while doing my enumeration is set up my BurpSuite. So I will switch to BurpSuite, come to my BurpSuite right over here and target scope, and I will say 10.10 11.220. I will click on OK. yes. And in my proxy HTTP history, let me refresh the page. Let's come back and let's see whether it works or no. So refresh the page, doesn't work, refresh from here, and yes, I can see the request. So one more thing which I can do is I can say show only in scope items, and that's all. So now everything, so gallery is here, we can see some images, there is some genre of these ones, so animals, architecture, and these sort of things. Your feed, this is my feed which is having again genre of food and so on. And your profile, test, I cannot do anything, the email, and I cannot do anything, and nature. Okay, so there are some three favorite gens, which is food, travel, nature, and I will try to go for, let's try to add one more. If I say test 1 2 3 4 and click on update, it says preferences updated. So if I go to my feed, there is food. So let's see. Okay, there is one nature, then there is food, but where are the other ones? So the other ones are travel. So there is no travel and test 1 2 3 4, but that is fine. So let's see what happened behind the scenes. And there you go. So you can see all those API calls which I was able to found out using relative URL extractor right over here. API v1 gallery user gens, then gallery images, and then user feed. So all these are being used over here, and this one is doing a post request because I actually changed that one. So if I send this request to repeater, send, and it says status of success. So one more thing which I can try over here is, since this is JSON data going on, so again I have told you in my previous videos as well, JSON data is we can try for SQL injection over here as well. We can try a different sort of vulnerabilities over here as well. The other thing I can try to look over here is that nothing seems interesting. Let's see some other requests. Yeah, so there is only post request going on over here. The other one might be the login functionality and the register functionality. I can try a lot of things over there, like I can try cross-site scripting, but normally in these contexts I cannot try cross-site scripting. Then I can try SQL injection over there as well. But right now inside the application, I am having only this endpoint which is sending data to the server or retrieving data from the server. The other ones are not there. One more thing which I can do is I can try to start my enumeration in the background, which is GoBuster or dirsearch. I will try dirsearch and pass it out in this way. Or I should have done authenticated scan as well, but let's try to do both. So once this scan is done, I will try to go for the authenticated scan. So okay, one more very interesting thing right here, which is very important. Either we are doing web application or any other thing. There is a thing called self API call, or I call it as self. Normally there are different names: API v1 auth user. If I show you this API call, this will actually show me my different stuff, what I am, what I am not, what is my email, what is my password, oh sorry, not password, but for when my account created, and my different sort of data. In that way I can try to play with the application way more in depth. So for example, I can see right over here it says status of success, but my data, so my ID is 31, my name is test, so I can see now the ID is going in 31. So either I can try to do 32 somewhere, either I can do any other things to try to find out IDOs and those sort of things. I am, my name is test, email and admin is set to 0. So the first thing which I can try to do over here is try to change admin to 1. If I can become admin, that will be a great success for me. But the problem is, where I should I set this thing? So what I will do is, again I will see whether I am doing any post request. So yes, I am having over here post request. So send to repeater, sent, and right over here in below gens I am having, I can do paste, admin set to 0, send, and it says that it is successful. If I come back and if I hit send, No, admin is still 0. The other thing which I can try to do here is try to play a lot more. If I set it to success, if I come back, send 0. So I cannot become admin right at this point. So let's try to remove this thing. The other thing which I can try to do here is SQL injection. So if I try to do SQL injection over here, it shows everything in success. So if I try to remove this thing, send, it says success, test, it says success. So everything what I'm doing here is getting successful. So that is strange. So let's see what happens behind the scenes. We do have a lot of endpoints. We will see that as well. So proxy and gallery user feed. Oh, user feed is another endpoint. Let's see what it is. Okay, so user feed is actually giving me status of success as well, and data is again from January food. This is food as well. All these are from food, nature, and that's all. Food and nature. Okay, so whatever gen is set over there, user feed endpoint is actually giving me data over here. So that is interesting, but I added test 1 2 3 4 into it, but it didn't work. So if I do test 1 2 3 4, send, let's see over here, send, let's search for test 1 2 3 4, nothing. So food is there and nature is there, right? So what I can try to do here is, what if I remove nature from here, send. Now accordingly it should be only food in this one. So if I hit send and if I scroll down, yes, so there is only food gen over here and all of the information about the food. So this can be interesting. So what if I try SQL injection over here? So if I do single quote, hit send, success, let's come back over here, hit send, and we do got a 500 internal server error, which looks quite interesting. So let's try to play with this. So if I say a very basic injection, or 1 is equal to 1 and then a hash sign, send, send, server error again. So a double quote cannot be over here. So if I try to do single quote, round bracket, send, send, server error again. So in all cases I am having server error. Now there are two things which I can try to do over here is, I can try to pass this out to Sqlmap and try to hope for the best that Sqlmap does find something, or I can try doing manual things. So might be there possible there might be some problem which might be facing, or there might be some sort of firewall which is blocking my some things. So let's try to play with this. So I don't know now which character is bad. So when I added single quote, it actually gave me error of server error. Whatever I'm trying to do on every error, it is giving me a server error. So if I try to do minus minus space minus send, let's come back here, send doesn't work. So I need to somehow figure out what is working and what is not. So if I hit send now, send doesn't work. Then if I try to do a hash sign directly, send, send, oh, it does work. That is strange. So this confirms me there is an SQL injection. Let me try to remove this round bracket if I am having a false positive over here. Send, oh, server error. So round bracket, send, send over here, and we do got something, food over here always. So this confirms the SQL injection to me, because now query is being fixed out. So it was food, travel, and nature. So I am guessing now the query would have been something sort of select. Let me open a new one. So if I say select, you can say genres from, let's say, whatever is the table name, table, where I can say generate in something sort of I can say round bracket or this, but I'm just guessing this thing out. Table food colon comma nature comma travel, something sort of this, because without these three it is not doing anything. So it should be something sort of this, what I am guessing. So, or it can be, might be in round bracket, because round bracket is actually working over here. Okay, that is great. So why not or 1 is equal to 1 was not working. So if I try to do space or 1 is equal to 1, send server error. So I believe when I am doing this thing there is no space. If I do a space, send does work. Send again, send over here again, send again. Yes, it is working. So why it is not working over here? Or 1 is equal to 1, send here, server error. The only thing which can cause problem is spaces, because 1 is not bad, equals is not bad, or is also not bad. So let's try to do something sort of bypassing this thing, and what we can try to do is we can try to add a comment over here using this thing. So this is comment for multiple lines. So let's see if I can, instead of space, try to do this thing, and now hit send. Let's come back, hit send. Oh, it does work. So definitely space is a bad character, and I am having nature as well, I am having food as well, and I am having everything. So animals here as well. So animals is a new one. So this means I am having a proper SQL injection over here, and the space is a bad character. So now whatever I will be going to do is I need to, whenever I need to put a space, I will put this thing instead of it. So let's try to remove this one, and let's try to enumerate some columns and those sort of things. So I'll say union select one, and down there are spaces. So I will say this thing, and let me copy this, paste, paste, send. Let's come back, send, server error. So 1 comma 2, send over here, server error again. 3, send, server error. 4, send, server error. 5, send again. Oh, at 5 we got the data. So this means there are 5 columns into this one, and the last one you can see 1 2 3. So 1 2 and 3 are over here, which are reflecting back. So let's say if I pick 2, right? So what I can do over here is, instead of 2, I can try to see the database version. Send. Let's try to send again, and now where it should be 2, I should see the database name, that is intentions. So now I am way more in. Now the next thing which I need to do is to see the columns and sorry, table names, and then the columns, and I need to extract data from that one. So what I will do is, let's see, if I come back or over here, I will be going to do, let's say, I need to see the table names first, right? So because database is intentions, so in intentions I need to see the table name. So what I can do is I need to write a query over here again, and what I like to do is instead of 1 I will do null, and 3 null, 4 null, 5 null, because I don't want these. I only want to inject at number 2. Okay, so what I will do now is I will say I want to see the table name. So table underscore name, and let me make this a little bit right over here so you can see it much more clearly. If I close this thing, yes, so it must be much more visible. So now table name over here, but I need to put a space over here, and then I will say from information underscore schema, schema dot tables, where table underscore schema is equal to intentions. So that will be in single quote. So intentions, and that's all, right? So now wherever there are spaces, I will put this thing. So let's remove space, this one, paste this one, paste with this, paste this one, paste this with this one, and this one. So now this becomes the whole query. If I hit send now, let's come back, send now again, and if I scroll down, I cannot see anything. So let me scroll one more time down. Yeah, so there is a problem with my queries. Send again. So union select, and then table underscore name. Let me make sure there should be no space. From information underscore schema dot tables, where table underscore schema is equal to. So let me make this right over here. Oh, I think so I have done a spelling mistake in intention, so it is intentions, right? I believe it was like that. So if I come back now, send, scroll down, and there you go. So I can see all of the table names. So gallery images, personal access token, migration, and users. And I always go for users. So now I know the table name is users. So the next thing will be the columns. And for column, again, I can come over here and I can try to do column name from information schema dot columns, and I think so rest of the things will be the same. So if I send here, scroll down, and there you go, I am having a list of all of the columns, and there you go, you can see admin column is over here. So admin should be set to 1. So password is over here, email is over here. So I am interested in admin, password, and email, because if I am able to get the email and the password for the admin user, I can actually log in as admin. That's all which I want. So I will be going to use group concatenate to do this thing, right? So let's try. So instead of now the whole query, I will first of all, instead of column name, I will say group underscore concat, and then I will say email comma password comma admin. Now this output will be very weird, so I need to do it in some way. And then I will say from, and it's not information schema this time, it is from users, where let's say I can do, let's do where admin is equal to 1, because I know admin was set to 0 in the JSON output, so I will say admin is equal to 1, and looks like it is all. Send. Let's come back, send. Let's scroll down, and there you go. I have the email, I have the password, and some interesting things. So let me copy this thing, or let me copy only this thing over here, add it to my Sublime text, and the output is quite different. So Greg is another user, and Steve, and I think so the last one which is over here is for the admin one. So that's why I told you the output will be very weird, because this one is for admin, this is the hash of the user. Now the one thing which I can try to do is I can log in using this one, or I need to crack the hashes using this one, and these looks like that these hashes I cannot crack, but let's try. I will use online platform because cracking might not be a good choice right over here. So if I say crackstation.net, but normally I have not seen crackstation cracking these sort of hashes. The other one is hashes.com. So let me copy these two hashes. So crackstation, paste, I am not a robot, and then I need to check the captcha, crack hashes, and unrecognized hash format, paste that same hash over here, captcha GTFY3F, submit and search, and didn't got it. So normally these sort of hashes are very hard to crack. Actually we can use John and the other thing, but it will be a very hard job for me. Now at this point, when I solved this machine, I got stuck quite hard, and I was actually having no idea what actually I'm doing and what actually I am not doing. So after doing a lot of enumeration, we need to again do a lot of enumeration, and we need to find out all of the things from here, from the page source, from all of the interesting things. So what I was able to figure out was, if I come back to the main page, intentions, right over here, let's try to analyze some JavaScript files as well. So what I did was I tried to went into every page source. I tried to figure out whether I can try to go for the JavaScript files somehow. So I know that this is going into /js endpoint, and this one was gallery.js. So let's try to see whether I can access JavaScript files, because normally when we are doing bug bounties, a lot of people say JavaScript files are gold mines. So it is forbidden. So let's try to do a dir search over here. Let's see if we have found something interesting from here. Admin is an endpoint. Let's see what is admin doing. Admin is showing me this login page. So robots.txt is over here. Let's see what it does. Nothing. So nothing interesting right now. So there is an admin endpoint that was interesting and nothing else. So let's try to go for dir search in JS, and let's try to see whether we can find an interesting JS file. So let's see. And there you go. My scan is half done, but not half. It is 3536, and I do found there is another JS file which is admin.js. So that's the benefit of doing directory fuzzing in every endpoint, whether it is a JS file, whether it is, you never know, you can find a lot of them. There is another one, app.js. So let's try to go for admin.js. So what it is, so I think so I just close the previous tab. If I do /js/admin.js, let's see. Oh, we do have again a lot of huge code. Let me copy this, do the same technique, do wget and do ls, and I will pass it out to extract rb, and we do have some admin endpoints. So API v2, I remember previously it was v1, so that is a new thing for me. Then there is admin image modify. We can modify images, we can upload some images. I think so there are some users as well. So I think so these are admin endpoints when I get logged in. Now the problem is, how do I log in? I have the username and a hash. Can I put the username and hash in the password and the use email and the password field? Let's try. So if I login steve at intentions.htb, copy this complete hash, paste, sign in, and doesn't work. Definitely it will not work because this is the password field, right? So send login error. The other thing which I can try to do over here is, I saw it was they have also v2 version of API. So if I try to do v2, hit send, I got a error message. It says the hash field is required, and that's definitely what I do have. So I do have hash. So if I say hash send login error, so I need to figure out what it what is the problem right over here. Oh, I think so in this hash they are escaping something. So this backslash should not be there, right? So if I do remove this backslash, hit send, and there you go. We do have a success as an admin, and I have logged in successfully as admin. So this was a new thing. But one more thing which we can try to do over here is, if I go into that admin endpoint, so admin.js, this is the one. If I search for API, API v2 doesn't works, v2, oh there it is, API v2 image and API v2 image modify. So this is right at the end. And we do have one more thing over here. Let me see if I can somehow intercept this request, because js if I send this request to repeater, because in my browser it was getting very hard. I think so if I use Chrome can render this thing much more beautifully. So let's see if BurpSuite does that one. Yes, BurpSuite is again doing this one good. So this is huge. Right at the end I'm having some slash user slash images slash image id, and right at the end I can see some text. This one is again interesting. So if I scroll up, it says, hey team, I have deployed the v2 API to the production and have started using it in the admin section. Okay, so when I logged in as admin, I will be going to use all APIs which will be v2. Let me know if you spot any bugs. This will be a major security upgrade for our users. Passwords do not be transmitted to the server in clear text. So that was a good thing for me, because I was not having the password in clear text, I was having the hash. So when I did that one, it worked. So it says the v2 API also comes with some neat features we are testing in. It could allow users to apply cool effects to the images. So whenever I see images, I always think about Imagick, and right over here he has given me Imagick here as well. So that's a clear indication that there is an Imagick vulnerability, and which we will be going to exploit in the future. And it says image feature reference. So everything he is giving me clear hints in this one. So now I am having an idea that what I need to do when I log in as admin. So let's try to log in as admin now quickly. So if I go to intentions, let me use BurpSuite proxy intercept feature. That will be much more quick. Sign in. Right over here, this was the email. Let me clear the hash. Looks fine now. v2 forward, and I should have got logged in. Doesn't work. Let's try one more time. Sign in. P2. Oh, there was a problem. I need to change this password field to hash. So hash forward now. Yes, now I do go gallery, and now intercept is off, and now I am logged in as Steve. So again, I believe the same one. But when I did directory brute forcing, I found out that there was an endpoint called /admin. So let's see when I go to /admin what happens now. And again, it shows me something. It says news, v2 API update is over here, image feature reference, and again that's all of the thing. Then if I go to users, we do have all of the users right over here. So right here I can see admin at admin.com, and these all are Sql injection which are being tested out, images, and these all are images. Now one more thing before moving on to Imagick vulnerability, we can also try to inject the things using Sqlmap as well, because if you are not comfortable or much not enough to actually do the manual injection, what you can try to do is Sqlmap. That is way more easy. But the problem here was that we do have two requests, right? So the first one was this one, number 3, which is having all of my gens where I am injecting, but the output which I am seeing over here is this feed endpoint. So what we need to do is we need to pass it out two files, two request files. So it will be something sort of this. So let me remove these all from over here, double quote, and close this. Right, and just to save some time, I will say the database is MySQL, and I will inject the static over here, or I cannot do that one, it will do it automatically. So let's try to do like this. Copy this request, come to terminals, let's open, let's say request 1, paste, save. Let's move on to the number 4, again copy this all, and sublime request 2, save, done. So if I do Sqlmap -r request 1, and then I will say --second request is request 2 -batch, definitely batch, and then I will say -dbms is equal to my SQL -level of 5 -risk of 3, and then because I know that the spaces are being filtered out, so what I need to do is I need to use a script called -temper. I don't know which script it is. I think so it is temper to, or let me see. If I cd into user share Sqlmap, then there are some temper scripts. Yes, so the script name is, I think so, space to comment. Yes, so this is the script actually which will change the space to comment. So I'll say -temper is equal to space to comment. I believe this is the correct syntax. I exactly have no idea, but let's try. Okay, so let's see why. So I will pause this video right over here, and let's see whether it finds injection or no. Okay, so my scan is done now, and I can see that right here Sqlmap was able to find out the injection, and again it says right over here that it is vulnerable. And if I just scroll up a little bit, it says target URL appears to have 5 columns in the query. So the same thing which I tried manually, Sqlmap did automatically. And then you can try to again do the same commands right over here. You can try to do a dbs to see the database names, I believe, and it should be fast. Let's see. Yes, and there is intentions. Then you can try to do -d intentions, and I need to see the tables. So now it will dump the tables right over here. These all were the tables which I did manually as well. And I need to do see the table users and dash dash dump, and it will dump the credentials. So that's how you will do the same thing which I did manually using Sqlmap, and there you go. I have the hashes for all of the ones, all of the things, and admin. There are only two admins which are set to 1, and these are their hashes. So now let's come back and let's try to do the thing which we were doing afterwards. And now I can see that there is something regarding image. We can try to edit the image. If I click on this edit button, I can see the image, charcoal. There are 4 effects: charcoal, wave, swirl, and sepia, and all of the interesting information about this one. So if I come right over here, and if I see my request in HTTP history, there is post admin modify. So if I send this request to repeater, send this to repeater again, and this is what it is. So if I scroll down to see the path and effect variables, this is again a JSON request. Oh, sorry, JSON data being going on. And I can see var www.html intention storage app public animals, and then this is the image. So this is the complete path, effect is swirl, and so on. So right over here I know because of the hints, and I can try different things by Imagick. So there is a very great blog post which shows me Imagick PHP exploit, or this is the one, exploiting arbitrary object instantiations in PHP, and that's what I will be going to utilize to exploit this and get onto the box. So here we have, so exploiting arbitrary object instantiations in PHP without custom classes. So the vulnerability lies over here is that let me explain you what Imagick is. So if I show you right over here, let me scroll down, because this is quite huge research and this is very interesting research, and it goes right over here. So let me scroll this down as well. Yes, so MSL actually is the one which is Magic Scripting Language, and what it does actually is, let me show you. So what happens is that if we create a MSL file which is magic scripting file, and we put XML over here, and we do read file and write file. So what happens is that in the read file we will specify our own server and our own image, right? So, and in the write file we'll put the path where our image will get downloaded. So what we can try to do is we can put this thing into the post request or into a file, and then we can somehow call this file to get executed over there. And for this MSL actually works, which is magic scripting language. And the other thing which we can try to look over here is regarding Imagick vulnerability is actually this one. So in the image we try to change the dimensions and we try to make the image small. So let's say right here he is doing 10 cross 10. So I will copy this. Let me see what is my original image size. So image size is 38,471, the size of this image. So let me just move this right over here, and this is Ashley W and then unsplash.jpg, right? So if I simply do this thing 10 cross 10 right over here, let me move this more over here. Now 10 cross 10, if I hit send, and now you can see it is just 1199. So that's the actual Imagick vulnerability right over here. So we can, based upon the dimensions of the image, we can try to do a lot of interesting things, and that's what this whole research is all about. So what I will be going to exploit right over here is, yeah, so one more thing is with magic scripting language is, so if I can show you some, right, okay, one more thing right over here is showing me, it says https colon slash slash goes to PHP, but https colon slash goes to curl. So we can try that as well. So if I do something sort of, instead of this complete thing, or let me send this request one more time because I don't want to screw this request. If I remove this thing and if I do http colon slash, and then my IP 10.10.14.152 slash, and let's start let's say netcat listener, or yeah, let's start netcat listener 80. So if I hit send, bad image path, I didn't got anything. If I try to start Python server, python dash m http dot server on port 80, and now if I hit send, it doesn't get a hit. So http colon slash, right? It was, so http s colon slash. So if I do s colon slash send bad image path, and I didn't got a hit. So I exactly have no idea why it's not working, or it should work, but that is how it is showing right over here. So the other thing which right over here is, I cannot see that thing right here. Let me see. So let me scroll down. Where it is. PHP crash plus brute force. Let's move more down. Let me see. So scope, he is doing module is equal to Imagick. Let's move more down. Yeah, so the reason why I wanted to do vid is I cannot see it. Yeah, right over here. Okay. So if you see this request much more clearly, what actually is happening down over here, let me show you right over here. So he is going to get lamb templates help.php and then different sort of things. Then in scope, he is doing MSL, which is magic scripting language. Then he is giving the path where the shell will get overwritten, and it is starting with PHP, but the next 1 2 3 4 5 6 characters, we exactly don't know what those will be, right? So we need to do a brute force attack, and the brute force attack will go very huge, extremely huge, to depend to find out those 6 characters and to give the path. So right here you can see the below heading slash temp php and then 6xxxxx, which means we need to brute force these 6 characters. Now this is extremely painful process, but if I just scroll down, there is a vid scheme which has been released, and what this does is we can try to do wildcards. So rather brute forcing the last 6 characters, why not we put a wildcard and do a vid scheme? And that's what I will be going to do today. So right over here, scope is equal to vid colon msl colon and then slash temp where our shell will go, and then php is static, and static means override the next 6 characters, and then in the uh, post data I will send this xml. I will change the content type to this thing. So let's try to craft this attack, and then we should get a reverse shell, or we should put this thing. So this is the final payload which actually becomes. So let's try to play with this. So I will, first thing first, let's see what is my request. So this is my request. I will come back to my previous request, which was my original request. So first thing first, let's start from the top. So I will copy this content type. My content type is application slash JSON. I don't want this. So this is done. Then since I need to pass these two things, this thing into this post data, right? So I need to figure out where I should do path and effect. Can I do it in the URL right at the top? So if I do question mark path is equal to test, and ampersand scope, I think so it is effect, is equal to, let's say, swirl send bad image path. So it means it is getting this parameter right over here, but it is saying that the image path is very bad. So it works, I believe. But let me see what was the image path right from this request. This one, let's try. Copy this, go to repeater, paste in the path, send. Oh yes, it does work. So these two parameters I will put in the URL, and the rest of the things I will put right over here. So this complete thing I will copy, paste over here, and now hit send. And it does work. Now I need to change a few things from over here, and the things which I need to change is, first thing first, the code, right? So in the code, oh, there is a space on line 19, so I will remove the space, and now it is much more beautiful. Then there is eval function going on, which is requesting a parameter. So I don't want eval, I will always go for system or shell exec. I like system. CMD is the one which I normally use because I have always used CMD. This is a comment, I will remove this. Then where I want to put my reverse shell, is it, let's say, shell.php, and it should be in var www, or the path should be right over here. I don't know. Let's see. I think so the shell path should be the correct one. Var www html, it was slash, let me see, intention storage app public. So if I do, let's copy it from there, slash intentions public. So paste like this. So let's hit send now. I got this thing. I think so this is giving me that image, or I need to see where I can put this one. Oh, I am doing one thing wrong. I need to not do this thing over here, right? So I need to do this thing in the path. Now it should work. Send. It is taking time and it is working. So now if it is working, my shell.php should be right over here. So if I do 10.10.11.220 slash shell.php, enter, file not found. Whether it is the path which is wrong, so intentions should be there. Let's see what my directory brute force did give me back. If I do have that over here, no. I just closed that terminal. Let me do that quickly, real quick. 10.10.11.220 and slash enter. So there was admin, but let's try it until then manually. Storage might not be interesting. Let's try to remove in the, let's say, reverse order. So if I do remove intention, send, enter, file not found. If I do this thing, slash send, enter, file not found. If I do this thing, slash enter, refresh, file not found. And if I remove this thing, /send, refresh, file not found. So intentions slash shell.php, enter, not found. Then I need to do, let's see, it was public. What was it? Send, enter. Oh, we do got something. So I think so it is intentions shell public. Do we have over here somewhere? No, it should be public. So if I do question mark cmd is equal to who am I, let's see, and there you go, we do have a command injection. So this was all about Imagick, how it works actually. The new thing which it was right over here was this with schema, which actually helps us to do a wildcard injection, and then we can try to do this thing, and we do have an easy thing. The next thing is fairly easy, going to refshells.com and getting a reverse shell. So I always use Python. Put my IPN port 10.10.14.152. I will switch off my BurpSuite as well now. It is not required anymore. 443 is fine. Python 3, Python 2, Python 3. Let's do 2 with this one. Copy and paste that reverse shell over here. Come back and netcat-nvlp 443, listener is on. Hit enter over here, come back, and we do have a reverse shell. So if I type in who am I am www.data. Let's table the shell python 3-c, then import pty dot spawn bin bash, enter, control z, stty raw minus echo semicolon foreground, then stty, my rows are 23, my columns are 90, export term is equal to x term minus 256 color, and execute bin bash. Now my all shortcut keys are working and so on. So let's try to do enumeration ls-la. Let's see whether we are having something into my home directory. Nothing look interesting. Sudo privileges, password for www data, I don't know. SUID binaries, it is dash 4000. Pipe it out to dev null. So it doesn't look anyone interesting. Uname dash a, it is quite updated. Cron job, nothing. Cron tab, cat etc, cron tab, nothing interesting. So cd into home ls-la, there are three users. So if I do ls-la in static means all of these are permission denied, so I cannot do right over here. The next thing which I like to do is I always go into opt. These all things are the ones which linpiece does automatically. So if you don't want to do these things manually, you can try to download linpiece, transfer it over here, and you can easily do that one. So I always like to do manual things. So scanner right over here is a directory. So let's cd into scanner and permission denied. So I'm assuming that definitely there is something regarding with scanner. So cat etc password. What other users we do have? There's user Greg, FTP. Okay. So nothing interesting. Let's go into the web server directory. ls intentions ls-la. Oh, there is a git repository over here. I can try to see the git commits and try to enumerate those as well. So let's try to do that one. But how could I do that one? Because I think so git is, if I do git logs, I think so it is git log. No. So I need to download it onto my system, because on my system the git is set. So what I can try to do here is I can try to make a zip file of this complete git directory. So I can do tar. So tar dash c for create, v for verbosity, f for file, and create a file in my temp directory with the name of, let's say, git.tar, right? And then I can do this complete git directory. Enter. This is huge. Done. Now the easy way to download it is using website, because I know public is the one which is hosting. So what I can do is I can move that temp git.tar file into public, right? And now I can go to the web browser and I can say git.tar, download it for me, and the download has started. So it is 68 MB. So let's wait for it to download, and I will just start the video when the download gets completed. Okay, so the file has been downloaded. So I will come to my terminal, and there you go. You can see dirsearch has also found my shell as well over here, and nothing interesting. So I was hoping that public would have been over here, but there is storage. But that's strange. I think so that was a random guess which actually worked for me. I don't know how public was there. Okay. So the other thing which I could have done was using different word list. So I will move that download git.tar into my current working directory, and I will say tar dash x for extract, v for verbosity, f for file, and then git.tar, and it will extract. Done. And now I will simply say git log, and there you go. I can see the logs right over here, and if I can see fix webpack for production, test cases did not work on Steve local database, switching to user factory per his advice. This one looks interesting. So these two are from Greg, Steve and Steve. So let's try to see the diff between these two. Otherwise, let's see what happens. So if I do git diff, first one and the second one, enter. And we do have some calls right over here, API v1 auth login, and we do have the email of Greg and the password as well. So this is interesting. I can try to do SSH over here. So if I say SSH Greg at 10.10.11.220, yes, paste the password, enter, and there you go, I got logged in successfully. So that was actually horizontal privilege escalation. If I do pwd ls, there is user flag, and if I do cat user.txt, we do have a flag. So let me improve this shell, python 3-c import pty semicolon pty dot spawn, and then bin bash. Okay, so cat user.txt, and again there are two interesting files right over here. So cat dmca underscore check.sh, and this one is running a binary called scanner, and it is giving the directory path of this one, and then the I don't know what that is, and then I think so dash is for hash, for that's why it is hashes.txt. So I think so that this file is having hashes. Yes, so a lot of hashes are over there. So let's see what is this scanner doing. So if this scanner is doing it, there should be some sort of SUID bit set on it, because I am assuming that this is the part, this is the path to become root. But no, there is no SUID bit set on this one. So how we can exploit this? Because to become root, there should be some sort of SUID bit on these sort of binaries. So this is 64-bit executable. So if I run this binary, let's see what happens. So it says this is a scanner application, provides the capability to evaluate a single file or a directory of files against a known blacklist and return matches. So what I can try to do over here is -c for string. So it says path to image file to check. -d for string, path to image directory. So if we need to give the file path, that is -c, and the directory is -d, -h is for colon separated hash file. Yeah, so that's where it was giving this hash file. -l is maximum bytes of files being checked. So if there is no SUID bit set on this one, what is get capabilities? Let's see get cap on this scanner. Oh, we do have read search. So this means we can read files as root user. That is what does that mean. But the problem is that we can read files as a root user, but if I run this one more time, I think so. Let's see. Let's try to do scanner -c / etc / password. Let's see what happens. Doesn't work. I need to give the L as well, and L, let's say 1. Again an error, I think so. So I need to see -c, then I need to do -l. Oh, I need to give two more, -p and -s. So print calculated file hash only compatible with -c. So I need to give the p as well. So let's say if I don't give p, let's do empty p. Again, nothing works. So I need to figure this out, that what is going now over here. So I think so I need to give the MD5, because right now it is saying that this is MD5 per line. So file matching are evaluated by comparing an MD5 hash of file contents or a portion of a file. So if I do get etc password, and then if I do the first line, it should be head 1, or let's do get etc password, and the first line is this one. So it is starting with R, right? So what I can do is I can say echo -n R and pipe it out to MD5 sum. This is the hash. So what I can do is, if I do now one more time -p, let's move -p -s, paste the hash, and it matches. So that's the whole thing about this. So if it matches, this means R is present in etc password, and that is correct. So now using this one, I can read any file. So one way is I read the root flag, or the other way is I try to read the id underscore rsa file of root user, because without these two files I cannot do any other thing to become root. So for this purpose we need to write a brute forcing script to actually read the file, because we need to figure out that what is the first character, second character, third character and fourth character. So this will be based upon 1 byte, and then by doing a brute force attack we will find all of the five matches. So whatever does matches, that's a valid character. So that's what the all script will be all about. So I will be going to write a script onto my own system. So sublime script.php, I will write it in php because it will be much more easy for me. And let's see. Okay, so let's start by doing this thing php and closing this as well. So they like this. Now, and the first thing what I will do is I will make a variable called id underscore rsa, let's say. So if I do id underscore rsa, and this variable will store the first line, because if I get out my root dot ssh id underscore rsa private key file, this is how it looks like. The first line is always like this, right? So I will make this a variable, paste this in, because I don't want to brute force this anymore. Then I will be going to calculate the length of this one, and I will let you know why. So I will do again another variable, let's say $I is equal to, and the length of this one will be str length, and in this one I will say $idrsa. So the length has been calculated, and then I will be going to write a function, and let's call that function brute, and that function will take two arguments. That will be, one will be idrsa, and then the other one will be the hash, because the hash should match, and I will make these above, so don't worry about that. And now what we need to do is we need to see the idrsa. This contains ASCII characters, then it contains slash, then it contains, I think so, equal sign as well, yes, and then periods as well somewhere, I believe, or no. So ASCII are 27, right? So I will make a for loop. So I'll say for, let's make another variable ASCII, and I will again define it above. Right now I have not defined it. Or let's make a random variable right here, ASCII, and we will see whether if I need above it or no. So ASCII is equal to 0, and I will say until and unless it is less than 127, less than equals to 127, and then ASCII plus plus this thing, because all characters should be in ASCII. And then I will say character, so convert this ASCII into character, and let's save into a variable called, let's say, C, like this. So now I need to actually compare the MD5 sum, right? So MD5 sum of this thing should be equal to the hash, which is original one, and if it is, then return that character. So if I say if MD5 of $id underscore rsa dot c, which is concatenation dot $c, and if it is equals to this hash, which is again I will specify, then you need to return the $c, this one, like this. So yeah, looks fine. I just forgot to do this thing for brackets. Okay, so this will be the brute force function. This is the length. So now that is easy. Let's do another loop over here. So while true, this will do until and unless it's going on, again brackets, and I'll be going to do, let's do the length to increase by 1, because whatever this length is, right, it will be stored into I variable. So if I increase the length by 1, so it will be the next one. So I need to do incrementer plus. So let's say $I plus plus, like this. And then I will do, yeah, I need to execute that binary. So if I come back over here, this is the binary which I executed. So I need to give the full path of it. Something is going wrong. Let me copy this complete thing right over here. Paste. So it is slash opt slash scanner slash scanner, then dash c, and this time it will be not this one because I don't want to read etc password. I want to read root.ssh slash id underscore rsa. The length will be again $I dollar, I think so, it is like this, I, and dash s will be, let me see, specific hash to check against, not compatible with -h. Let's do any random thing then. 1 2 3 4 5 6, I have exactly no idea what that is, and -p as well because I have no idea what these two are. So this should work fine. And now whatever becomes right over here, oh, I need to store this into any variable. Let's say output, and then I need to use explode function actually to do separator of with space. So if I say, let's make an array, and array is equal to explode based upon the delimiter should be space and the string should be the output I have got. The line should be ending with semicolon. I always forget this thing. And the next thing which I will do is the hash, which will come over here using the argument. So if I say dollar hash is equal to ending of that array, like this, and finally we should have the brute force function, because hash is over here, we will pass this hash over here with whatever the output is coming from right over here. So we can pass this to that function which I have created. So I will say character is equal to a brute function, and I will pass this again $id underscore rsa comma $hash. So this is exactly how it will go. So let me just double check this one. It should work fine. Function is this one for ASCII, checking ASCII characters, concatenating here. If compare with the hash, return this one. And then I need to do concatenation here, I think so. $chr. And I need to do a break as well, because when this will break. Let's put a condition over here, because I think so id underscore rsa should not be greater than, so let me confirm. So cat idrsa word count dash c 2590. So let's do if dollar I, which is the length, right? So if the length is equal to 3000, let's say 3000, then you can break. So break. So I need to print this chr as well, because the private key should get printed onto my screen. Let's see if this works. I think so it should. If I copy this all, let's come back over here and cd/temp. I will say nano script.php, paste, save, exit, and then if I do php script.php, and there you go. So brute forcing every character, ASCII slashes are there, and we do have the private key of the root user. Done. And now if I just copy this all private key, come back to my system, if I do sublime id underscore rsa, paste, save, and if I do change mode 600 id rsa ssh root at 10.10.11.120, oh sorry 220 dash I idrsa, enter, and we are logged in as root user. So that was all about this one. Writing the script was quite tough for me initially, but I was able to figure it out somehow. So that's how we doing brute forcing over here in this function. This is a check to break it out, and this is the thing which is running, comparing with the hash, which matches exactly. If the hash matches with the current input, it is the actual input, and in this way it is doing a brute force attack. So that was all about this video. I hope you will like it, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.